It's Thursday. It is 5:56. I'm here. I'm Eric. I'm making a game. It's called The God Killer. It's a top-down puzzle game written in Unity, coded in C#. Lots of stub artwork in it right now. Pretty close to hitting a milestone, which I call Logic Complete. I'm excited about that. Today, I'm going to... Well, I'll show you that in a second. Let me go over my schedule real quick. I do live coding sessions Monday through Thursday around 6 to 8 p.m. PST. I may start or end, give or take half an hour. And then Sunday 3 p.m., usually right on the dot, I do a session which is like a demo or a level design session or some kind of activity which is not coding. So if you're not into programming, you can you can check those out and still see quite a bit about the new game that's in development I've been working on for a bit, which I think is pretty cool, and you may too. And yeah, and then for these live coding sessions, I'm going to start out each one with a quick little demo. So if you're not into the programming and you just kind of want to see like what I've been up to, I can show that off pretty quick at the beginning of these little sessions. So let's do that next. All right. So suddenly everything freezes up. I mean, a real hard freeze. Okay. Yeah, my CPU just like totally froze. I'm like, what? What was that for? What did I do to deserve that? I think it was this crummy external drive I've got hooked up. If you ever buy a Mac and you have the option to get a larger built-in solid-state drive, go for that every time. Spend the extra money. What I've got instead is like a reasonably sized SSD and then this really huge external drive, but it's got this stupid kind of wake up activity that just annoys the crap out of me. Okay, enough about that. So here is a creature. It's called a beamer, and the beamer moves around on these things, tracks I call them. I just created these yesterday, or at least I created like the meshes for them so I can set up these tracks. But I haven't created the logic yet, and that's going to be the next thing. So the idea is that the beamer here will be constrained to move just on the tracks when it's on the tracks. And that'll give it some predictability, and it will allow creation of certain types of puzzles. So what I have to do next is jump into the code world. Oh, I should hit play and just do a quick little demo. Let me move my little guy over here. I just promised I would give a demo. So let's do that. That won't take long. Might interest some people. And then I'll jump into coding. So I moved the starting location of the player off over near the beamer so I can have the view when we start be closer to all this new business I created. My frame rate is not great while I'm streaming. Okay, so I guess I put myself in a place where I'll die really easily. Yeah, so the beamer closes in on me and I die. It sent me all the way off to that egg over there. Let me see if I can get back over to where the beamer is at. Am I gonna die again? Yes, I beamer's coming for me. So I'll go underneath of his beam. So I'm safe now because the beam is going over the top of me. Bad camera logic. If I go up, I'll die. I'll be high enough that the beam will hit me. So I want to, yeah, I don't think there's any way I can get back up to where he's at. I think I was still high enough to avoid his beam. Yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, so you see how he's moving now. He's on the track. I want him to stay on the track like that. But I know that I don't have the logic in place yet that'll keep him on the track. So if all I do is I just move in a different direction, he'll come over closer to me, and I want him to stay on that track, because that will make for satisfying puzzles later on. Need to have some constraints. Alright, so that's the demo. Gonna get to coding. Coding. Not to be confused with codeine, which is an entirely different experience. Okay, so these are all game objects. They have these logical attributes that go along with them that say if you are on it, which directions can you move in. So if you were here, you could move south, which is off to the right. Here, I'll go this way. Now down is south. Okay, so if you're on this, you could go south and you could go west. Kind of makes sense. It's a corner piece. Here you can go north and south, and if you can read the inspector, it's maybe a little tiny. It says north and south are checked. So I have those public attributes that I have assigned to certain prefabs. I drop those prefabs down, and in the code I'll be able to detect that those are the fundamental properties of these game objects, and that will get fed into my logic. So let's go to the code now. There's this class called track discovery that's used when the scene loads for a level to discover information from the mono behavior based game object and use it to create a logical create the logical state that's needed to complement it. So in my world, the things that logically represent those game objects that we were looking at are always called pieces. Track piece. Let me see. Let me just kind of copy over from another one. No reason to reinvent everything. Let me think it through fresh. Okay, so here I get the column row height. Don't need this edges stuff. Track piece. And I'll pass it north, south, west, east, like so. So it does occur to me that this north, south, west, east thing already corresponds to a different object or struct I already created. So let me see if it's appropriate to pass that instead. Edges. No, it's got some extra directions that I don't really need. Alright, I'll keep it simple. So this is going to be the constructor for a class I've not yet created. I don't need to assign that to a variable. I can just return it. Okay, now let's create the piece. Let's just do it by copying something else that's similar. And I don't want to brag, but look at all these different game elements that I've got here. They all work too. All of them. They all work. North, south, west, east. Gotta make sure I get the order right. Okay, so then let's assign those. And this is such a simple piece, it doesn't need much logic to it. I know I'm going to make getters and setters. Okay. So then I add this here to tell my code that loads in the level, look for tracks. And there's like a little discovery section down here that calls the Unity engine and says, get me all the game objects that, or get me all of the game objects that have implemented discovery and match certain tags. And then there's some code that just kind of adds all of those in based upon based upon that interface that I just implemented called discovery. So it's it's like a inversion of control pattern. Okay, so then I feel like I should just try that real quick. Just try it real quick. Just see if I screwed something up. Also, I don't like these guys just hanging out here, floating around. This egg thing, it is called an egg. It's like a respawn point. Not just for me, but for anything that dies. So if the enemies die, they also respawn from there. Okay. Alright, so there was a failure. So if I started and I can't move, that means there was a failure loading the board. So, did I remember to build? Did I even remember to build? Build. Yeah, let's make sure I do that. Okay, there we go. That's good. So some basic stuff is working. I just kind of wanted a baseline to make sure I didn't regress anything to a worse state. It's very conservative of me to do that. I should just keep coding, I think. Okay. So I can say Beamer thinking about making the tracks more general, like anything that lands on it has to stick to it. Nah, I don't want to do that. I don't think I want to do that. React util. Call this track beeline. So, question would be, for this logic, is the piece starting on a track? Okay, and so I'll add this extra makes me sad to get rid of this old code that I worked hard on. I had some really clever code that made something walk around inside of trenches in an agoraphobic way that I liked. But it's okay. If I want to, I can come back to it just because I got everything in Git, so I can just go back to old versions. That's the nice thing about Git. Okay, if either I'm not on a track, that'd be the first check, or let's see, how do I want to do it? Or actually it would make more sense to store the piece. So we'll say bool op, not bool, piece o piece equals track piece equals there's a nice way to do it, but I'm not gonna mess with it to start. I forget all the ways to check if something is the right class and cast at the same time. It's just not loaded into my head. I don't feel like looking it up right now. So let's just get the O piece. There's different layers. There's an O layer and an M layer, and basically I'm saying at this one square I want whatever's on the O layer, and the O layer is where track pieces are stored. So we say if, 'cause, 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 ' O piece. If not, track, blocks, movement. Then we go piece, delta DC, delta DR, O piece. Then I don't even need this thing up here. I'll just encapsulate all that inside of this call. Okay, that'll be nicer. If not, track, blocks, movement. Passing the piece that's trying to move, the location it's trying to move to. Okay, that'll do it. And actually I can just pass the delta. Okay, so now I know that I'm on a track at this point. And now I just have to check if the direction I want to move is going to be blocked. So if delta DC let's do north first. So if my vertical or the row delta is -1, that means I'm going north. So then I would return. Let's do the cast. Let's see, track piece equals track piece O piece. Sometimes right here the IDE gives me a hint. Nope, never mind. Okay, return track piece north. Else, if delta is pointing south, rest. And then it has to be that might be it for that. Let's see. Alright, it's just bugging me. I want to get a little bit better at C#, so I'm going to just do a tiny bit of research. C. C#. Check, cast, and assign. This is it. This is it. If something is, and then you make a declaration that includes the variable name. That's what I wanted to do. Okay. If O piece is track, we do it like this. That's what I wanted. It didn't matter that much, but I just don't want to teach myself bad habits. Like it wouldn't matter that much. It's just slightly inefficient, and I think that's the gist of it. Maybe it'd even compile out. Compilers are pretty smart. Okay, track blocks movement. Track beeline. See if I can find where this is called. Okay, so then I have one other thing to check. So I say if basically I don't want the beamer's head to rotate if he's on a track. Okay. Let's build that. This is one of those things that might work the first time. I give it a 48% chance of working the first time. So if things are going right, this dude's not going to rotate around, and he will stay on the tracks. No, already rotating. No change in behavior. I almost feel like I didn't wait long enough for the build. There's this weird kind of delayed. Okay, I'm just going to try it one more time, just in case it was some delayed build thing. Nope. Okay, things to check. Did you find this and add it? Okay, right underneath of you, right on the first starting square. Is there a track there? Yes. Okay. Time to go into the debugger. First I want to know. Do the track pieces get created and added to the board, which is the logical game state? Okay, that's the first thing I want to know. Second thing I want to know, I've got too many tabs. I'm just going to close a whole bunch of them. What's going on when the beamer starts walking? Is he going into, like, first off, this board getting the column row height, getting the contents of the square at those coordinates should be a track piece, and stop the rotation of the beam towards the target. So one thing I know about, like, if I put it on one line, it's harder to see if it actually goes in there or not, so I'll just do that. Build all again. But I do feel like this is going to be an easy one. It's bad luck for me to say that out loud, but I do feel like it's going to be an easy one. Okay. Play with the debugger. It should hit a breakpoint during the board load. It did. Okay, so you are adding track pieces to the board. And this is well tested, trusted code, the whole board adding thing. So I'm just not even going to keep stepping through that. Okay, next, when I move and you react, Mr. Beamer, what's your logic going to be like? So I expected I have one theory, but I'll come back to it. So if my theory is correct, all the pieces are offset in a way that they're logically added, but they're logically added to, like, in the game state, like the wrong layer or the wrong height. Okay, so if that's true, then execution will skip over. No, we'll go into rotate beam. Yep. Okay. And if that is true, then in track B line, geez, I already know the first thing is wrong. I don't need to keep stepping through for multiple confirmations. So let's undo you. Okay. So I'm basically going to check to see if the track game object has the same coordinates as this simple cube. The reason I create the simple cube is because it's kind of like a object that's not too complicated, that I know I can trust its coordinates. 26, 2, negative 6. 26, 2, negative 6. Okay, move that out of the way and check the track piece. 26, 2. God damn it! No, it's correct. It's correct. Hold on, let me check that again. 26, 2, negative 6. Well, let me check the one that the beamer's on. There's a potential for it to differ. 23, 2, negative 8 are the coordinates. 23, 2, negative 8. 23, 2, negative 8. It matches. Oh, I know what it is. It's a different kind of one-off error. Oh, I got it. I know what it is. I know what it is. So I'm checking the square that the beamer's at, but I really need to check the one that's underneath the beamer. So to do that, pretty simple, pretty easy. Let's say height -1 here, and I say same thing here, basically. I'm going to look one square beneath. Okay, now there's like a 67% chance that this will work. 67.7777. The breakpoints are still going to be there, right? Okay, well, at least I get to check here. Skipping over it. Excellent. Just as I wanted. Okay. Oh, but you went north. You went north. Half of it worked. Half of it worked. Oh, and now that you're off the track, you can rotate again. Okay. Get back on the track. Huh. Okay. Okay, we're getting there. I ain't shook. That's no problem. That's fine. CRH -1. The logic there seems correct to me. All right. Well, let's see what it does. Let's see what it does. Okay, it calls into this function. Oh, you know, I might have these reversed. Yeah, because basically if this is true, then that means you can go. But this is, does a block movement. So I could either change the name of this or change the return values. And I think I'll change the return values. Just negate them. Okay. So there's a thing in programming called technical debt, where you kind of cut corners and end up having to do more work technically later on because of all the corners you've cut earlier. I haven't done that, but I do have a lot of artistic debt here. A lot of kind of ugly things I've made that I'll have to come back to. Okay, now it's looking right. Now it's looking quite right. Yeah. I'm winning now. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is going to make some good puzzles. Because the trick would be to find places to get ahead of this guy, and the only way you can really do that is with flinging. So, say I want to get south of him. If I want to get south of him, okay, that's another way. I can bring him up here. Yeah, it's just working perfectly though. So I can go up here. The other thing I can do is I can push him. If I push him, he'll go flying across the room. Oh, cool. He's down there in the trench. But now he's back to his unconstrained self. He's off the tracks. Oh man, quite happy with this. Aside from my artistic debt. Ah! feel like a lot can be done with this. Oh. On a level like this, it's fairly confusing to see what's going on because I just sort of put a ton of junky stuff. But like if you were familiar with how this element worked and a fairly advanced player, you could still deal with it. Whereas like if you were just learning the basics of this guy, I would set him up on a much simpler level. Okay, cool. Well, you know, it's not my job. It's not my job to do anything with this. But it's not my quest. It's not my aim to be self-indulgent and play around with new game elements. No, I got stuff to build here. So I'll move right on to the next thing. Oh. But not before I basically make a little save point here and get. So we'll add in new files and make a commit with everything. Say tracks and beamers, logic complete. All right. It's kind of interesting to me that particular feature took me longer to make this stub model art than it did to code the feature. I'm like yearning to come back and fix these models so that they look really cool. But I'm not going to do that because I really want to get logic complete on this thing. Whole lot of benefits unlocked for me at that point. Okay. So now I'm thinking, what else do I have that is maybe I can make some progress on here in this amount of time I've got left. So there's an element I designed on my iPad earlier. I'm gonna go grab my iPad real quick. Be right back. And the cool thing is I actually came up with a way to show stuff on my iPad. It's not like the very best way to do it, but it's not bad. It's not bad. And with everything I've got running, who knows, it might just like totally crash things. Let's all right. Huh. I don't know about that. I thought that would start up, but maybe it's not going to. Yeah, it's not worth futzing over. It's really not. Oh, maybe it's like expecting to be on a certain USB port. Maybe I've like overloaded my poor USB hub and the USB. Let's see, over the table. And There we go. Still debatable whether this is a useful thing to do. Alright, so I could do spikers. Spikers I might actually be able to get done in this session. Okay, so they would be something that kills everything they touch. Yeah, let's do spikers. And also, I noticed that was really pretty worthless, that whole show the iPad on the other camera. It's got like this light glare, and yeah, if I was doing it really slick, there's some software where you can broadcast your iPad over to OBS, and that would be a nice way to do it. I'll get that hooked up one of these days. Spikers. Spikers. The penultimate enemy to be added. Alright, that's not even true. There's 2 more enemies to be added. One of them is God, who's the person that the character fights in the end. But that one I'm not going to show on the stream because it's essentially a spoiler. Another one is a scripted character, where instead of having a general set of rules controls behavior, it would have per level scripting that defined how it moved. So let's create. No, let's just save this scene. Create a new scene. Spiker 1. Alright. Then again, I will need some really ugly stub art. And I'm not even going to try. Not even going to try to make it look cool. Just going to copy. Here, let's just duplicate. Duplicate. It's heavy number 2 or heavy 1. Okay, so this will be the spiker. Tell me this is right. Okay, good. Okay, I just want to make it look slightly different than the others. I can do a little bit better. I can make it. I can give it some spikes. That's really easy, actually. So I'll just take away its little axe. So I'm just tired of looking at the axe. If you're entirely made of spikes, I mean, do you need an axe anyway? Oh, I can't restructure. Yeah, whatever. That has to do with this offset thing here. Okay. Okay, let's just, I gotta change it to something besides cyan or it'll drive me crazy. Or not cyan, magenta. Okay, that gets rid of the ugly magenta. And, I mean, it's all ugly, but I just couldn't take the magenta. Let's just add a few spikes, and it'll be very clear that we're talking about a spiky here. Spikies are made of spikes. And spikes are just cones. A lot of people don't know that. Spikes are just cones with sharp tips. 5. Where you at? Where you at? Oh, it's gonna. That's right. I always forget. Yeah, it makes the whole thing off in the main scene. Okay, cool. No problem. Let's take a spiker. Move him out here. Get him set up there. And just unpack the prefab. And then I can get rid of the stupid axe. I don't know why I hate that axe so much now. But it's gotta go. And what the heck, I'll just get rid of this little pack thing. It just doesn't need to be there. And what the heck, this is still easy. I could get rid of his little beard. He kind of looks like a little mummy guy now, but that's fine, whatever. I can get rid of his hair. Doesn't need the hair. All good. Now I'm gonna give him the spikes. I'm gonna give him not a door, a cone. Where's my cone? I want to see the cone. There it is. Let's just get it roughly the right size. Okay, the height can be not so high. It kind of seems like there's a minimum there of radius of 0.1. Doesn't look like I can go smaller than that, so just make that like that, and build the cone. And then let's just shrink it down a little bit by using the regular inspector. 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. Then we got a little spike, cute little spike. And I can just get that in there. Okay, maybe I should make those a little bit larger because they won't be so visible. From a distance. Okay. He's starting to get to be something that looks kind of cool. So I gotta be careful because if I start getting attached to what he looks like, I'll waste all kinds of time. This is the problem. I've got this urge right now to fix the look of this game so badly, but it's the wrong time to do it. Alright, so just a tiny little bit more tweaking, just a little bit more. I'll be self-indulgent just a little bit longer. And then that will be the end of that. I feel like some kind of weird barber, but like a barber for spikes. Like I'm a spike stylist. I'm getting all the spikes to look good for people that want their spikes to look good. Alright, and just get those to kind of look like they're in touching the scalp. Okay, what does that look like from higher up? It looks kind of like nothing. The problem with this game is like you have like a bunch of detail work and it just doesn't matter. So maybe if there is any lesson to this, any usefulness to me fiddling around with the model for a bit, is that I'm learning like the limitations of what you can depict. All right. So, Mr. Spiker, you get to be a prefab. And I'm gonna add a new tag to you. I'm not gonna fool around with this one, because I've got like an hour, and I could conceivably implement this whole thing in an hour, but it's gotta hurry just a tiny bit, not be self-indulgent. So let's see. Add new class. Actually, let's just get rid of that. And let's take the brawler as my pattern. So it should be pretty close to the brawler in terms of behavior. Do a little bit of search and replace. Okay. So let's see, board loader. That's the thing that would recognize all the pieces in the Unity scene. I always forget to, what happened to all my spikes? I made some good spikes there. Why didn't you just put them in? Oh, because all those spikes are not part of the game object hierarchy. So if I just move them up, drop them in there, then go back down here, update my prefab. Are they in there now? I think that's okay. So let's take a look. Yep, there they are. Okay. Then let us do that thing where I set everything to not be static, because I'm always getting a bunch of pieces that default to static, and then that causes various weird things to happen that I don't want. Like when the piece moves around, some of the mesh geometry stays behind. Okay, so at this point, I think everything's hooked up. And we'll just add some walls, just so it kind of works as a level. Spiker's ability to kill everything he touches is not implemented yet, but he should be able to just walk around and move and participate in the world. Cat. Let me just check one more thing. Spiker, are you? Yeah, okay. Wanted to ignore a raycast on that. What about the cones? Nope, the cones got to be fixed. Oh, that could have caused some very subtle mistakes. Okay, let's fix the layer cones are on so that they don't mess up. So they don't mess up the initial depth scanning of the level. Alright. Save it all. And just make sure it just works, just baseline works. Oh man. Okay, so the spikes should probably be parented to the guy's head if I'm trying. Okay, cool. He's running around. Yeah, they'll do it. That's fine. Okay, let's give him the touch of death. So I'm thinking about the best way to do that. This is where I start writing out my options, do a little bit of design. Okay, cases. Spiker walks onto another creature. Creature should die. Spiker walks onto a block. Block should die. Spiker gets pushed against. No, spikers can never get pushed. There's nothing that can push them, because anything that touches them would die. Okay, so let me write that case. Creature touches or attempts to move onto spiker, creature dies. No. Pushing spiker is impossible. Okay. Spiker walks onto ice, slides into square with other creature. Creature dies. Man, now that I write it out, it looks a little bit tricky. I think that's it. So ways to handle this. See if I can figure out the easy, obvious parts first. Okay, number one, make spiker eye touchable. Okay, let me just split this out into two solutions, or two problems. For creature touches. Because it's going to be basically two different things here. Make spiker eye touchable, and eye touch, and touch kills the toucher. Okay, for the rest. Okay, first one is I could override push no, that's not right. Override walk, add logic. I kind of don't like that, because I would have to make a big giant copy, add special casing. To kill instead of push. Number two, create, let's see, add a has death touch method to piece, which spiker returns true, add handling in piece walk, add special case. It's not really special casing. Okay, add handling in piece walk. Where else? Maybe slide 2. Okay, that one's already better than number 1. Trying to think if there's any other ways to do it that might be better. Let's see. So trying to make this little guy have a certain kind of behavior where he kills things that he touches, and anything that touches him dies too, because he's made out of spikes. Okay, so that's better. There is a certain silliness of adding that general attribute when I know it's really just one type of piece, the spiker. So I could add a, is this a spiker? Check instead of has death touch. Same as number 2, but that's like more honest. It just looks stupid in the code. It looks like ugliness there. Number 2, you can kind of tell yourself that later on you'll have something else that has death touch. Let's see, what else? So if I do add iTouchable, do I still have something there? Touch pieces out. Okay, yeah, I do. So let me implement number 1 first, because I can do that. It's independent of, I should say, let me solve the first problem first of other things touching the spiker. So let's make spiker piece, implement iTouchable. Okay, so this is going to be touching piece, die, ref, board, and then you need to add some effects. Add new piece punctured effect. Touching piece. And effects, add new hide piece effect, touching piece. Okay, so I think that would cause something that touched it to die. So let me check on that. And if there's going to be a bunch of dying going on, oh, dang it. Okay, if there's going to be a bunch of dying, then I need a way to respawn, so I better put an exit on the not the exit, an egg here in the level. And if anybody dies, they'll just be put back on. Okay. Build this baby. See if I die. Oh, I love it. Dead. Dead, dead, dead. Dead. Love it. Love it when things work the first time. Okay. So that's all good. So now I'm thinking about sliding. And I'm wondering, here, let me set up the test for it. It's almost certainly not going to work the first time. So I'll just stick some ice squares down here. The idea is with ice is, oops, that when you step onto it, you keep moving until you're off of the ice. Okay, so I'm not gonna check that. I'm just sure that won't work right away. So let's see what the logic is. Huh. Oh, okay, here's the pushing. So basically, I should be touching before pushing. Let's see. Touch pieces at slide call, slide row, H. Okay. All right, so that might do it. I want to see some death here. Oh, I forgot to build. I forgot to build. Well, first let's do the control. Yeah, you did a... What? I don't even know what happened. Oh, I did die? I don't know what that was. I don't know what happened. It's weird. It kind of looked like I died, but I also pushed. Okay, actually that it might have compiled. I could have. I think I did. Okay, so we'll say if not. Yeah, I think that's what happened. I think it actually did build. Maybe I just didn't notice I did it, and it killed me and it pushed the piece. What I want instead to happen is kill me and don't do anything after that. You're done. Better. Dead. Alright, let's see if I can die on the ice again. Might be a little hard to set that up. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get it set up to die like that again. That's okay. I tested it out. I'm pretty confident about it. Alright. So then, I'm doing pretty well here. Got a whole half hour to figure out the rest of this. So, I'm done with the creature touches. I think I might go with number 3. It's either 2 or 3. It's not 1. This will be horrible. I don't want to do that. Maybe I like this has death touch method better because it gives some explanation to somebody else or a future version of me who doesn't automatically know that a spiker should be deadly. So if I have some conditional logic that says, does the thing that I'm about to interact with have death touch, does it have death touch? If it does, then death. Okay, or really, in the cases that I'm interested in, it's going to be do I have death touch? Or does this piece that I'm running it for have death touch? Okay. So one way to kind of find all the places is look for code that checks for pushing. Yeah, let's do that. So So let's look at the top level push. This might not be hard at all. Okay. Let's say if has death touch, then I'm just gonna kill whatever was there and not even push. Oh wait, no. Oh yeah, push gets called on the thing being pushed, not the pusher. Okay, so who's calling push? Who's calling push? Let's check for push while walking. Okay, now this is getting better. Let's say if I've got the death touch, the piece is gonna die. Say effects, add new punctured piece puncture effect, pushed piece, and hide it. And die it, kill it, die. No, not ref, push piece. Okay, I'll do that. And return true. Okay. So what all calls this? No, I should say what all calls push, because I think there's something else that calls push. Slide does, I'm pretty sure. But I already had some handling there. Well, but I didn't have the handling for the opposite case, where the thing sliding has the death touch. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so we just do the same thing here. I could also do check for push while walking. Nah, it's not quite right. It's just remember where that is. And then let's go push. Now I could also just override this. It is a pretty big chunk of code. I could be a little bit, could overload this. I could say no. tend to be dry here. And ironically, I'm more likely to introduce an error right now by being dry, but I'm gonna risk it. Yeah, this is the annoying part right here. So push piece. So I get to take all that code out, but I have an error right now to fix. And I can just do it like this. I can just go -DC, -dr. It's a little bit gross, but it's kind of better than what was there before. And then that might be the last of it. Might be. Let's check how my unit tests are doing. Waiting for the spinny. Maybe it already came. Nope, there it is. Ah, sneaky. Player slide test fails. See, try to clean up a few things and just introduce more errors. Just see if that makes a difference. Nope, does not make a difference. Okay, I'm gonna save this in my clipboard, and I'll just undo until it's back how it was. What am I doing there? Is that just oh, that's right. I was gonna fiddle with that. I decided not to. Okay, put it back how it was. Just put it back how it was. Okay. Okay, then put that there, and that should get me back to my baseline. Let me see if I'm passing. No, so I changed something else that screwed up sliding. So I might have to look at these a little more closely. And I feel like, well, if it's already messed up by something else I did that I don't feel like undoing all the way to, I might as well just put my new code in. And just put that in. All right. Then let's pick the simplest of these unit tests. slide to fall. Slide to fall. Let's do that one. Make sure it still fails. Yes, it does. Okay. I'm just looking at the call stack that failed in the unit test, or the call stack at the time of the failure in the unit test, and it's down in CRH util. It's like a low-level utility. Huh. All right, let's just step through it. Step it through it. Run. Go to ice test. Player slide test, and the name that I want to check out is slide to fall. Okay, so the player is up on a plateau, and there is, by the edge of the cliff, there's a little patch of ice here. He's going to walk east, slip on the ice, fall off the side of the cliff. But I know that it won't work. So let's walk and see what happens. Here's where things should mess up. Somewhere down here. Let's see. Okay, I'm going east. I'm at 2, 1, 3. So I think I'm going to move. I think that's fine. This push pieces should all be null. Wait a minute, wait a minute. Maybe it's like I'm pushing myself. Oh man, I gotta use the restroom. I'll be right back. So it seems kind of like I'm pushing myself. So if that's true, then push piece would be the player piece. Yeah, okay. So really, maybe what I need to be doing is not doing this slide call minus DC, but just, yeah, okay. I think I got it. Okay, let's do all these. Okay. Phew. Not bad. To test this out a little bit, I want to have this fellow here run across the ice and spike me. Spiker is gonna spike me. Perfect. Okay. So now if I head south, the other thing that should work is the spiker walks, instead of pushing me, will end up spiking me. Perfect. Alright. And, oh, you pushed me. I thought you would spike me. I really thought you'd spike me. What's the, why did it push before it was spiking? I know that if I run into him, I'll die, but I thought you were gonna kill me. Instead of pushing me. Oh, you know what happened? He pushed me before too, but he pushed me just right up into the same spot where I would be if I died. So it didn't work. Unless it didn't build. File. Let's just stop. Okay, while that's going, let's throw something behind me so that if he does push me, it'll look like a push. Don't have all the animations in here that would clue me into what's going on better. Okay. Nope, he's pushing. That's all pushing. Oh, I forgot to override. I forgot to override the has death touch. That's what it was. Okay. Well, that is a reason why it wouldn't work. So if I say public bool override, no, do it this way. Gotta go make that virtual. Death. Yes. Death. Yes. Death. Death. So much death, and it's just the kind of death I like. Expected death. Spiky in the done pile. Logic complete. This is pretty awesome because in 2 hours I completed all the coding for 2 game elements. That's just ridiculously fast. It's always good to be impressed with yourself. Life is it's just so much more enjoyable when you're impressed with yourself. It might not be more enjoyable for other people, but for you, it's all golden. Spikers and tracks. Logic complete. Done, done, done. And I even kind of look, even though it's stub art, I even kind of like how the spiker looks. It's not terrible. I like the little pokey things in his head. And I like how they make a shadow. It's all spiky too. I can't wait to touch this up visually. It's gonna be fun. Like that ice there, which is just these junky, blocky stuff. I mean, no, we'll get like something that looks like organic ice, like actual ice. It'll still clearly take up certain squares. It's important to know. It's important to know the space things take up in this game. Things are always all the way in a square or all the way out of it. It's quantized on these column row height defined squares. It's just a big old grid, to the point where all the physics of the game are entirely ignored. There's no collision detection with the meshes. There's no like acceleration or application of forces. It's just purely expressed logically by interactions at the square level. And that's like the foremost thing that happens. And then as a side effect, visually, things happen with the meshes. It's a side effect. I could turn all of the visual stuff off and the game would still run logically with pure game logic. Like I could just hide everything in the screen. I'd delete all the meshes. The game would still work. I could hook up all that game logic to like a character-based, like a old Apple IIe style set of text to display it. Yeah, I could make an ASCII game with the same game logic. Not that I want to. Anyways, that's enough of my self-indulgence. It's 8 o'clock. I feel like a champion, and I hope you do too. And you won't see me on here tomorrow. I'll be back Sunday. I'm going to be back Sunday 3 p.m. I've already decided what I'm going to do. I'm going to make some new levels in that session at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time using these elements I've created, and you can watch me do that if you want. If somebody is online and feeling particularly feisty live in the chat session, we can even try like a chat solving where you tell me what to do in the level and see if you can solve it. We've done that before and it was pretty enjoyable. So yeah, anyways, have a good day or night, evening, morning, whatever it is. And I'm going to end the stream. Talk to you later.